So this is my G.I. Joe Real American Hero collection that was put out by Marvel from 1982 to 1994. I don't know how this survived the fire. I guess it was in the last room of the house to suffer from the fire damage and smoke, and was in the closet, and I guess clothes fell on top of it, and when the firefighters came in, they basically hosed everything down, and a lot of water got in there. But out of 200 something issues here, only about 30 of the comics actually got water in them and damaged them to I couldn't save them. It took me a while to rebuild and find those issues that needed to be replaced, but that has been accomplished as of today. So I'm just going to do something where I'm just going to show you my comic book collection one by one of the covers. You may find this boring, but I love the art. Larry Hama, the writer for the vast majority of these issues, is a awesome individual. I've met him several times at conventions, and he signed several of these issues, and it just makes him very precious to me, so I'm very glad that these survived. I love reading them. I've probably read through this run about 5 or 6 times by the time, and I'll probably do it again. Just love the story. But this is the first issue, June 1982, I believe, when it came out, and it's just awesome cover. It's the very first blockbuster first issue. Second issue, also signed. Sorry, it's raining outside. 3, and these things are 60 cents an issue. That's 4. 5. Great story. 6. Alright. Okay, I was introducing the Russian October Guard force, which is the counterpart for the Russians versus the American G.I. Joe team. So much action on these covers. They just made you want to read them. Springfield, a nice little town. I think that was one of the great things about G.I. Joes, that these Cobra operatives, these terrorists, could be living like your next door neighbor in some small town. And great shot there. Number 12. Yeah, some of these you'll see that they're not in the greatest shape, but they're readable, and I love them. I don't plan on selling these. These are just for my personal collection. I think that was the introduction of Destro. So number 15, Dr. Venom. I don't think he ever got a figure in the original run. Wish they had made him. This was a really hard issue to find for some reason. Number 16. This is one I had to replace, and after I got it, I realized someone had wrote UN, I think, on there. Good enough copy for me. Major Blood. Shadow Destro. Commander. 19. And issue 20. And this is a key issue, issue 21. This introduced one of my favorite characters, Storm Shadow. It's a silent issue where, due to complications in production schedule and everything, Larry Hama just dictated how the art and story should be told without words. And this is iconic. I love that this issue actually survived, and it's in pretty good shape. One of my favorite issues of all time. Now, even though this wasn't part of the original Marvel run, it's 21B, which was new art, and it tells it's this in between the silence from the issue 21. It retells 21 from action that you didn't see. So when you combine the two together, it tells a really awesome story. It's also silent, but I feel like that needs, it's actually, I think at the bottom here it says 21B. If you have a Marvel collection and you don't have that issue, it's not really complete without it. Moving on, we have issue 22. I love how he's playing with like these little miniature figures, a little rattler, and it's just like, that's legitimize the toys to agree. Love the painting and the color on this cover for some reason. It just looks really good. Roadblock taking down my favorite character, a Storm Shadow there. It's a good shot of Zartan. Dragonfly helicopter. This was a really good, gave a lot of insight into the character of who Snake Eyes was. Thinking about that, there's actually a figure that they made of that Snake Eyes that looks just like him, but there's a little picture of his twin sister on his hat that he always kept when he was in the war. But awesome issue. Let's see, we have issue 27. Love the graffiti on the subway train there, or the good perspective on that one. Good painting. This is made the Dreadnoks just really badass in my opinion. Never really liked the way that Zartan looked in this. I don't know, it's something about his face and his hood. Just don't like that for whatever reason, but good issue. And again, where that one was issue 32, this is issue 32 and a half. Again, it tells a little bit more of a story in between the issues. Again, I don't think your collection is complete without having that, and it came out with from when they released some figures in the comic packs. There's issue 33, good shot. Dreadnoks. 36. I love the Killer Whale. It's one of my favorite toys, and the Rattler. And again, the last issue that needs to be added in there is 36 and a half to introduce the twins. 37. Good shot right there. I love any issue that has Storm Shadow in this original uniform. It's just cool to me. Love the camo. Oh, Roadblock. One of the best covers of Roadblock ever. Made you wonder who that kid was. Awesome cover. I love it. One of my favorite covers of Snake Eyes version 2 and Storm Shadow with this cover logo. Larry had to sign that one for me. Love Beachhead. Let's see. Issue 50, G.I. Joe Special Missions, giant size, featuring a sneak preview of Special Missions, which I have Special Missions all the way over there. But that was a really cool issue. Get through 51. Thunder Machine was so cool. A really great shot of Quick Kick and Storm Shadow. A really cool cover of Snake Eyes. 4. Unmaskings. I remember reading this as a kid, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're finally going to see what they look like, all of them. And I read the issue and was so disappointed because you don't really ever actually get to see what they're. You kind of get an idea, but not really. It was kind of a very misleading cover, but still a cool cover. Let's see here. We got Roadblock, Scarlet Flint. Side by side with Destro. Yeah, he teamed up with the Joes a few times. Commander's new armor, which as a kid I thought sucked. Story made it good, but yeah. Raptor, one of the lamest G.I. Joe figures ever made. And the Trouble Bubble, or no, that was the Pogo, which was one of the lamest vehicles ever made with the lamest Cobra Commander ever made. Let's see. Zanzibar. It's a good issue. Love the spotlight on them. Let's see, this is the continuation of that story. There. 63. Danger Minefield. Yeah. Hmm. 64. 65. Space missions. Kind of. It's going weird a little bit there. 67. Great shot. Literally. Did not like that vehicle. The Persuader. This Destro and his Iron Guard, or the Iron Brigaders. Can't remember. Yeah, pretty cool. Gold head. I remember reading this one as a kid and I've been out a few comics and wasn't quite sure what was going on, but this one had Thrasher getting his wallops in it. I almost threw out a plane. Crazy Legs. Serena. Good shot of Tunnel Rat. I loved that helicopter as a kid for some reason, the Mamba. Very cool. So before 75 with Serpentor. He's got the bear strapped on top of a hiss. Let's see, this is 76. 77. I love the cat fight here. Another good Roadblock cover. 78. Arf. Yeah. Rolling Thunder. I remember getting that for Christmas. It was awesome. I like Thrasher. I just didn't like this cover. Dodger was one of my favorite Battle Force 2000 characters, which I didn't really like them, but for whatever reason, Dodger was cool. Probably the most badass Viper on a cover ever. Road Pig, property of Road Pig. His name is Donald. Red Ninjas, it's Artan. Good shot of Storm Shadow version 2. One of my favorite figures. This is number 86, the 25th anniversary special issue. Joe Colton, the original G.I. Joe. Destro. Python Patrol. This is number 90. Really cool issue. Snake Eyes version 3. 91. This is where it starts getting interesting. Thunderclap, October Guard. Top Secret. This is a key issue. I'm not going to tell you what happens in this issue. You need to read it. Let's see. Part 1, Warrior Reborn, Snake Eyes Trilogy. Key issues here. Snake Eyes gets a new face. No turning back. One of my favorite covers here. Now this one I did have, it was signed by Larry Hama, but it got destroyed, so this is a replacement I had to get. I'll try to get him to sign this one. Ooh, that lightning is striking real close there. I know who this guy is. Two of those in blade wash by Cobra. So this is the 100th issue. I'm back, Cobra Commander, the original Cobra Commander. Really special. Really great issue. It was double sized or extra sized. One. Sorry, it's getting hard. I've got to move these back and forth. More October Guard action. This was a Storm Shadow cover. Let's see. American Hero, the Assassin Unleashed. This is Snake Eyes. It's a really good cover of him. Dropped from a stealth armor. Let's see, we have 105. 106. Bang Bang, You're Dead. Nope, not really. Fugitives. Government. Oh yeah. He'd kill you in a second. If he had, then we wouldn't be going through more issues. Body count 7 and climbing. Yeah, this is the time when a lot of the favorites got killed off by in the comic book after a long time of no Joe's ever dying, and Joe started getting killed by a Saw Viper. Jumping out of helicopters and planes. And you're fighting your war continues, and the body count rises. More deaths. This is one of my favorite issues. It recounts a story where Sneak Peek got killed by some Vipers, Alley Viper or Range Viper. I'm not quite sure which one. And I believe Dusty had made a promise to Sneak Peek's mother to take, not to leave him behind if something should ever happen to her son, and he carried Sneak Peek all the way back. I think later on in the IDW continuation of the series with Larry Hama, yes, find out Sneak Peek didn't actually die, but for the longest time, it was one of the saddest issues and one of the ones that had the most heartfelt impact on me. 114, Rock and Roll version 2. This is Rattler going down. Destro, one again. More Destro and the Joes fighting together. Cobra and Destro getting at it. Yeah, Storm Shadow version 3. And Snake Eyes version 4 or 5 at this point. 6. This is where it got kind of interesting with the Red Ninjas attacking Destro and the Baroness, who tried to just do their own thing on a good shot of the new Storm Shadow. Issue 122, Slice and Dice. Slice and Dice are two of my favorite Cobra ninjas. Sludge, Eco Warriors got introduced. Triple Threat. That was a cool issue. It was like 3 different stories going on at the same time in one issue. Wish they would have dropped Flint. I love this cover of Firefly with his camo and having all the history and stuff going way back into how the G.I. Joe team, or how Snake Eyes joined the G.I. Joe team, and after he was trained from the Arasakage ninja team. Really cool issue. Yeah, I don't like his new uniform. I like this previous uniform that he had. He switches it out. I had that little helicopter. It's pretty cool. Jay's a badass. Never had that vehicle. Cobra invades the pit. Anybody home? I didn't really like that bat versus the first one, but then I ended up getting a lot of them. That Duke was pretty cool. This is when the Gulf War was starting to go on there. Had that Desert DCU on. Really colorful, cool cover with Snake Eyes. Love the dynamic shot on that one. I think it was Andrew Wildman. Yep. That did that cover. I always liked the covers that Wildman had done. Pretty cool. That's that new Firefly costume I didn't like. This is when it got weird. See how little, small the G.I. Joe logo is versus the Snake Eyes. So it's G.I. Joe starring Snake Eyes and the Ninja Force. And cool cover, and there's a free trading card inside. And this one is actually bagged still. I read them all when I was a kid. I never opened these ones that I got that were never opened with the bag and the card still in the back. Maybe like live action movie cards. It's a really cool cover. Scarlet uniform. Figure wasn't so great. This is 137. That's versus Snake Eyes versus Scarlet. That's another one. Yep, so one's bagged and one isn't. Let's see. That's another bagged one. Card. Another one that's open, so I can read that one. 38. We're getting there, and this is. Sorry for jiggling the camera there. I got Snake Eyes. And let's add the Transformers. Cool. But it got it kind of weird. I didn't read all these as they were going through, and I had to go back and get these and read them just to get through the story. But kind of lost interest when I was a kid. At this point here through the 40s all the way up until the last issues. I'll go to that when I get to it. Hi guys. Hi guys. Look at that shot. Trapped. Cobra. Dark Island. This was a good issue. Went back into how Snake Eyes got deformed, saving Scarlet on one of the first missions that the G.I. Joe team had. Cobra Commander wins. Might as well after all this time. Space Force. Robots and weird high-tech stuff. Got away from the military aspect, and this is where just the Star Brigade stuff I just couldn't stand. So Billy turns traitor, Baroness gets fried, and along the way to return of Snake Eyes, yeah. That brainwave scanner, they've been using that since like the very beginning. Battle you demanded, Snake Eyes versus Cobra Commander. Really cool. 51. Snake Eyes again. Well, against Cobra reviewed. This is a cool issue. Now these last few issues are really, really hard to get, really hard to find. They were low print runs, so completing a collection of the original Marvel run gets to be kind of expensive if you don't already have these issues or have to go and get them individually. Luckily, these all survived the fire, so I'm super happy about that. I like this cover. All right, Shadow of the Bat, 153. Now at this point, issue 154 wasn't actually written by Larry Hama. It was written by a different writer. It was a kind of cool story, one-off. It was separate from the timeline. And it was kind of weird because at this time, no one knew that the run for the original run was going to end. And I remember, I got 3 copies of it. I love this. This is my favorite issue of all time. Issue 155. You can read it there. It says, "This is it, the final issue of G.I. Joe." And I remember I was a teenager. I was going to the movies, and there was a Sam Goodies next to the movies, and my movie hadn't started yet. I had about 30 minutes. I went into the Sam Goody just looking around, and I looked at the comic book rack that they had, and I hadn't collected G.I. Joe comics in a while, maybe a year or so or more. And I saw this issue on the stand, and I was like, "Oh, G.I. Joe." And when I saw "This is it, the final issue," I went and immediately bought it and read it, or actually didn't read it until I got home after the movie theater. And when I read it, this story was so profound. It actually was one of the pivotal issues to make me decide that I did want to go into the military myself and serve my country, after considering a lot of factors that were brought up in this particular story. This was the last issue for the longest time, until IDW, or Devil's Due, brought it back in like 2001, and there was a 6-7 year hiatus, no G.I. Joe, and the Devil Due run didn't continue from the Marvel run. IDW later did that in like 2008, I believe, and then they got Larry Hama to continue the story with issue 155 and a half. And then it's continuing on as of right now. He's on issue 284. So there's a lot of issues. Had a lot of that collection going on. A lot of that was destroyed, but I am going through the process of rebuilding the IDW collection, which is really expensive. But luckily, I was able to get lots of back issues from IDW directly to catch me up, and went on eBay, got the first 155 and a half, or 156, and a lot of the covers. There's so many variant covers of the original, or the IDW run. That's what I kind of like about this original run, is most of the covers are just one covers. Very rare that they had variant issues at all, unless they were like second, third prints, and even then they just said second or third print. You'd have to flip open the cover to find out. Well, I got 3 of those, just because it's such a great issue. And when everybody thought it was done, lo and behold, they made special number 1. Now this issue, I got it back in the day for a decent price, like $20, which was more than normal for a comic book. But what makes this issue so special is that it actually it's not a new story, it's not a continuation. It actually is issue 61, I believe, from the original run. And the thing is that the original artist for issue 61, I believe, was at the time Todd McFarlane, who later became famous for his Amazing Spider-Man, and or Spider-Man. And this is a shot that was not done by Todd McFarlane, but another artist that did an homage to Todd McFarlane and his Spider-Man perspective, and how he posed, and made it with snake eyes. And I love how it's standing on a building, and there's red light coming that's shining through the pane glass there, and it's kind of giving him that spider look. How he's got his fingers there and down there, holding the knife, looking down. Just an awesome issue. And the reason why this issue is homage to Todd McFarlane is because Marvel had the artwork that Todd McFarlane had originally done. Thing is, they didn't really like the way he told the story with his art. Not that it was bad, it just wasn't as good as what was actually released by a different artist, and that's who they used. But they kept the art and decided to re-release Todd McFarlane's version of that issue, and then you can read both to see which one you like. I still prefer the one that came out originally versus the Todd McFarlane, but I love the cover of this one. I have the yearbooks. There were 4 of them. Great covers, thick. Kind of summed up a lot of what happened throughout the various arcs in the story, and included extra little stories, I think, just short ones. Really cool covers. Sad they only did 4 of those. And they have which was Order of Battle, which was a limited series, but it kind of gave like dossiers and background history from the comics perspective of the characterizations, very vivid, detailed characterizations that Larry Hama had wrote into most of these characters, which made them so memorable, and where you really care about these characters as if they were, real living, breathing people. Number 3 focused on the Cobras, and 4 was more on the vehicles up to that time. And then, of course, Special Missions. Special Missions. Actually, I have two of these copies because they're both signed by Larry Hama. One was in 2015, and one I had him signed back in 2007. Okay, like that. He signed both of those. Issue 2. Great covers, great little one-off missions and stories most of the time. Sometimes it went into 2 issues. I think there's another one of the Grim Reaper that's coming up. And these special missions focused on other characters, figures that were released that didn't really get a whole lot of limelight. And this is one of those issues that got messed up from the water damage that I kept, because it's just so hard to replace every one of these issues. You can kind of see it there, but it's still readable. Alright. Chuckles. Love this one with Dusty. Cool Snake Eyes version 2 there. Reminds me of that issue 21. You know, stuff's about to go off there. Snake Eyes about the blood. Really great issue with Shockwave. 23. Love Jinx. I love that she's beating the crap out of that Cobra Commander I hate. There's a dinosaur. Tiger Force. Oh, here's that Grim Reaper one I really like with the October Guard and the Joes. And final issue 28 of Special Missions. I'm working on my European collection. I had all 15 issues, but they all did not make it, I guess, because they were further back in the box. But these are ones I just got in to replace them. European Missions was basically Action Force. They just retold it, redid the art and or reproduced the art and stories for the stories that were written specifically for the UK market, or in England. Kind of grittier storytelling. Art was a little different, but good stories. They call them European Missions. I have 1 through 8. Love the covers on these though, especially this one. Beautiful issue. Issue number 3, and it comes with a poster of that cover. 5, 6. Cool little light. Okay, that's all I have so far. And then there was in my collection I concluded it's G.I. Joe and the Transformers 1 and 4 part issue limit. I don't really know if this fell into with the run, but they did it, and they liked it because they blew the crap out of Bumblebee, and I was like, oh, I remember my friends telling me in school when this, did you see the G.I. Joe versus the Transformers, and they killed Bumblebee, and I was like, really, what? Had to get that series. More Shockwave, and let's see here, and this is the final issue with G.I. Joe Transformers number 4. I think it is in the continuity, but it was a lot of issues and a lot of time spent just talking about G.I. Joe comics. But I love this whole series. I have lots of other comics. This is the only set that it's really. I'm just glad I was able to save it and hopefully cherish it for many years to come. Well, I can never close this thing. Put some G.I. Joe stickers on there. Alright, that's it.